Welcome to the first ever episode of 7 Minutes With. I'm Jared Ulster, the co-founder and chief strategy officer at Dune7, a digital strategy and brand marketing agency that's focused on growing travel and tech clients. So for every episode of 7 Minutes With, I'll be joined by one travel or tech industry insider to discuss hyper-relevant topics and get the inside track from the people that are shaping the current trends. Today, I'm pleased to welcome as our very first guest, Evan Frank. Evan is a three-time co-founder or CEO of travel marketplace startups. He is the former co-founder and CEO of Onefinestay, and later went on to lead Context Travel in the role of CEO. Recently, Evan founded Fora, a new platform that is rebuilding the travel agency for modern times. Evan, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on the inaugural show.
Oh, the honor is mine. The honor is mine. Let's get right into it. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, what is the one trend that you think the travel industry spends way too much time dissecting? And then on the flip side, what's the one trend that you think we should be paying more attention to?
Yeah, so a lot of this is self-serving because it's like the genesis of some of what I'm working on now. But I think the industry spends a lot of time talking about OTAs. And I think what's often, and like, I've been to the Arrival shows, for example, and like all of the sessions, like, Douglas Quimby's Arrival. Yeah. And a lot of the sessions are like almost like infinite varietals of like OTA distribution. And I always felt like we don't spend enough time talking about how multi-channel distribution actually works for travel suppliers. And how to make overall multi-channel, sort of your overall distribution as a travel supplier better and more balanced to deliver the right kind of customers and the right volume at the right price. So that's how I would answer that question.
Right. So basically you're saying we spend way too much time talking about the OTA versus direct, and really those aren't the only two shows in town. It goes well beyond that.
Yes, or just OTAs generally. I mean, I think direct is there's a lot of things that are like embedded in direct. But I think that OTAs are a interesting channel to market and should be part of any like large scale travel suppliers distribution mix. But like, it's not the only way to go to market. And I think it's often treated like it's the only real viable way to go to market.
Sure. Got you. So cool. On the flip side, what trend should we be paying more attention to? What's the one trend or the one topic you feel like the industry is just missing?
I think that, well, I mean, I think first of all, I think travel agents are a lot more interesting than anybody seems to believe in the industry. And I think that's why I started Fora. But I think even beyond that, I think that I think that we should really be paying attention to the domesticization, that's not even a word really, of travel patterns and what it really means for, like what it really means for the expectations of like, traditional kind of overseas properties or overseas travel providers that really counted on tours or like, the American traveler traveling abroad, and how really so much travel patterns have been, I think, like reshaped and reshifted to the point that like Europe is kind of at this point the type of special occasion trip that it might have been in the like 60s or 70s. And I'm not sure we're going right back quickly to this like 4 times a year in Europe if you're like, the kind of person that loves going to Europe. I think travel patterns have become a lot more domestic, and I think it's going to stay that way for a long time.
Yep. I think it's hard for most people to get to Europe one time right now with all the hoops. So I think that's a fair point.
That's why I haven't gone back.
Right. Cool. So briefly, can you tell us what is Fora all about? You guys just had some great press this morning in Skift, but can you just, in a few sentences, summarize what it's all about and what core problem you think you're solving here?
Yeah, so we're trying to reinvent and reimagine the travel agency with sort of modern eyes, which I think has a lot of sort of tentacles to it. but at its essence, it's better kind of branding and presentation, better content authoring and creation so that like expertise can really come through, and better marketing tooling, right? So like really helping advisors build their own business. So that's like broadly, I think, what we're trying to do. We really want to empower a lot of people who are not in the industry today. That's the main focus for us. It's like bringing people who are passionate or interested and allowing them to earn a side hustle income or more with our platform. So that's kind of the core problem that we're really focused on. And this really, I mean, I think at a more like sort of basic outside of the industry level, the thing that we're really trying to solve is like the labor problem, or a labor problem in America, where 1.5 million women left the workforce for the pandemic. People are looking for more flexible work, for work that kind of speaks to them more personally and allows them to like exercise a kind of more agency in their passions. And that's really what the essence of Fora is.
Wow, very small problem that you're trying to solve.
Societal.
If anyone can. Well, that's great. Thanks. So backing up, I guess, to you know, the start of your career a bit, you sold Onefinestay to Accor back in 2016. Is that right?
That's right.
For 200 million or thereabouts.
Thereabouts.
And so given, I mean, so much has happened in the both the luxury hospitality space and of course the short-term rental space since then. You have Airbnb, who obviously went public, and now their market cap is almost double. Sonder, Vacasa, IPOs upcoming this year. So looking back in hindsight, obviously it's 2020, but do you think or feel that Onefinestay was ahead of its time? And how do you grapple with all of the big deals that have happened since then?
Well, you know, I often cry myself to sleep, actually. Yeah, so Onefinestay, I think, was definitely ahead of its time. And I think that had we come along a couple years later with this kind of innovative idea, there just would have been like other ways for us to act, like other patterns to look at to build our business. So what Sonder does, for example, was the Skunk Works BD initiative at Onefinestay, like probably 5 years into the journey, when we were like, hey, maybe we should take on some like management agreements with commercial real estate providers with the hospitality license. But like it took us like so much trial and error to just like get to the point that it's like, wow, it's really hard to do this with one-off homes. So that's what made us distinctive. That's also what created some challenges with scalability of the model. And I think that being a pioneer, I think a lot of people can learn, not necessarily from your mistakes, but from your lessons. And I think, you know, there's like a lifetime of lessons that we learned, and I think we were real trailblazers. But I would say, yeah, we were like, if we were third to market, I think we would have had, you know, more of an impact than being first to market.
I think that's a very good lesson for entrepreneurs, in that, you know, a lot of people feel like that first mover advantage is a massive advantage, which in some industries perhaps it is, but I think that's a very solid lesson there.
Yeah,
very good.
Well, I don't really personally believe in first mover advantage. I believe in execution.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. Well, listen, thanks. We're out of time. Really appreciate you being here. We look forward to seeing what you build with Fora. If people want to find out more, it's foratravel.com. Is that right?
Foratravel.com.
Foratravel.com. Great. Thanks so much, Evan.
Also, Insta is Hello Fora, so it's a bit non-intuitive there.
Great. Thanks. And if you want to learn more about Dune 7, visit us at dune7.co. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See ya.
Thanks, Jared.
Bye-bye.
Bye.